I'd like to bring up Reverend Jerry Hobby.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you today?
Blessed.
I am so happy to be here with you today. This is a very special moment for me. And I want to talk to you today. I want to talk to you about something very, very important. And that talk is about flying on the wings of forgiveness. This is a very important topic, and the purpose of this talk is to support you in living a life of power. This is why we're all here, to live from that place of power, that place of perfect love. And so I believe this talk is going to support us and help us with our evolutionary growth. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. You know what? We have all been through something. We've all been hurt. We've had some pain. We've had a lot of things happen to us. I always like to say life is in session. It's always in session. We have bumps along the way. But you know, the thing is, we get to take these bumps and we get to use them in a way which supports us in a very special way. It helps us to take lemons and make lemonade out of it, as my mentor would say. You know, I love lemonade. But in order for us to have that lemonade, what we get to do is we get to take our experiences and transform them. And when we transform them, what we're able to do is move out of limitation. Ernest Holmes says, never limit your view of life by any past experience. And when we move into that place where we're not limiting our view of life from any past experiences, what we're doing is we're opening up to something even greater. We're moving into that place where we get to experience life in a wonderful way. That is the most important thing. Now, you know, the thing is about all of this, everything that goes on in our life, it can fester. We can create these wounds that will fester within us. And when these wounds fester within us, what it does is it creates so much sadness, so much pain. And I believe that we are here to move beyond pain. We're here to move and express life in a greater and a more abundant way. So I truly believe Viktor Frankl when he says, I'm in agreement with him when he wrote the book, Man in Search for Meaning. And he says it doesn't matter what happens to you in life. The question is, how do you respond? And if you respond in a way that supports you and your evolutionary growth, you're on the right track.
Yes.
You know, how many people here, what about you? Do you want more peace in your life? Do you want to experience more joy in your life?
Yes.
Well, if you are interested in experiencing more joy in your life, then the most important part is opening up to your good.
That's right.
And I truly believe that spiritual practice is the key.
All right.
And our wonderful friend Jack Kornfield says, spiritual practice is revolutionary. It allows us to move out of that space of our personal identity, our culture, our religion. And what it does is it opens us up to a greater experience, one that is more profound, where we get to experience the mystery of life, the great music of life. Yes. So part of that is when we move into that place there of the great mystery, I believe that is when we move into that place of infinite possibilities. The master teacher, Jesus, says, with God, all things are possible.
That's right.
They are possible. Now, in order for us to move into that place of infinite possibilities, we cannot dwell within those experiences of limitation, the hurt and the pain. So that's the reason I have coined the phrase, and I live by this. This is my experience. I live in a state of forgiveness.
Yeah.
That's my mantra. That's always my mantra. Whatever happens to me in life, I'm always living in that space of forgiveness. It makes a difference. Now, the thing I want to say about forgiveness is forgiveness opens us up in a greater way. Jack Kornfield says forgiveness makes our heart grow sweeter. And when I think about the sweetness of life, the nectar, I'm thinking about a hummingbird right now. But when I think about that, what I see is that Spirit does a lot of wonderful things. It opens us up. But the most important part about that whole experience is that we get to be compassionate with ourselves.
Yes.
It's so important to be compassionate with ourselves. You know, compassionate with ourselves and compassionate with the situation. Because that situation is what is moving us forward. It can be our blessing. But if we are not compassionate with it, we will miss our blessing.
Teach.
I love the song by Karen Drucker when she says, I will be gentle with myself. Learning how to be gentle with yourself and opening up to all of these great things makes a difference. Buddha says to understand everything is to forgive everything.
Yes.
And when we forgive everything, then what we're doing is we're moving into a place where we experience God in a greater way. The great Persian poet Hafiz says, forgiveness is part of the treasure you need to craft the falcon wings and to return. Return to your true realm and that divine freedom. See, I believe freedom is liberating.
Yes.
And with it being liberating, what happens is we get an opportunity to experience the beauty and the joy of life, the sweetness of life. We get to breathe. And as we're breathing, we can laugh. We can be fully present in the moment. We can allow that love to shine and thrive within ourselves. This is very, very important. The wonderful mystic Lewin Van Lee says, we have in us a divine spark that you can see. It is a light that shines in the human being. It is our direct access to truth, our direct access to God. That purpose of all, that is the purpose of all spiritual practice, that it exists to awaken the spark, to give life. And that life gives us energy. And when it gives us energy, we are transformed. And one of the energies that it gives is the energy of love.
Yes.
That spark of love. You know, love is the answer. It is the answer. And when we move into that place where we're experiencing love, and we can send love into the places we, in our human experience, are unable to go, what we get a chance to see is that life is beautiful.
That's right.
Not only do we find that life is beautiful, but what we can do is we can let that love do what it needs to do. That when we try and insert ourselves in it physically, and you know what happens when we insert ourselves into things physically, it seems like things start to collapse. And the reason it starts to collapse is because we're focusing on appearances. And it is important for us to learn how to move beyond appearances. And when we move beyond appearances, what we get a chance to do is experience the light of God.
That's right.
Rumi says, out beyond the right doings and the wrong doings is a field, and I will meet you there. So what I want to say to you right now is I believe we're all right here in this field.
That's right.
We're all here in this field right now. And if I could impel anything within this situation right now is a spiritual practice that I found that has worked for me in the area of forgiveness. I want to tell you a story. Years ago, I was a student in a class, and I was hanging out with this wonderful, wonderful person. We're in this group, and he was telling me about an experience he'd had. You see, we were working with meditation. And as we were working with meditation, we got an opportunity to practice and apply it in our lives. That's the greatest way to learn, I truly believe, is if you can take an idea, because we know things mentally. But you know what? The biggest part about it is taking it and applying it in our lives where we get to use it and apply it. And, you know, I always say I got on my religious science coat today, you know. And so in this space, what we try and do is we get to apply this, we get to test it. And as we test it, what we get to do is we get to open up to the many wonderful, infinite possibilities. So what he decided he was going to do is he was going to practice love. You see, he had been labeled the black sheep in the family. Anybody can relate to that? And so what he says what he was going to do is he says, I'm going to take this time and I'm going to shower them all with love. And he continued to do that, just bringing them in his meditation and showering them with love. And they had this meeting. And when they had the meeting, he was really taken aback. The reason he was taken aback is because he was being embraced by each one of his siblings. And they were so genuine in their response to him. They were genuine. That experience has stayed with me for a very, very long time. And the opportunity came many years ago for me to apply this within my family. I had a relationship with someone and something happened. You know how sometimes things go amiss? Well, I had a situation. And for the life of me, I can't even tell you what it was all about, how it started. That's normally the case. We're holding on to stuff and we don't even know why we're holding on to it.
Right.
So what ended up happening was I remembered that and I started to practice forgiveness. I would bring that person into my spiritual practice time. I would move into meditation. And what I would do is I would shower myself with love. I would shower the individual with love. I began to work and with that thought and that consciousness of forgiveness. You know my thing, I live in a state of forgiveness. And so I began to do that, and I would forgive myself of the things that I may have done. Sometimes we do things consciously, and sometimes we do it unconsciously. It goes over our head, but it has impacted the world.
Yes.
So what I began to do is I began to just bless myself and forgive myself of all of those things. And I did the same thing for that individual. Because we don't know, sometimes we do things and we don't even know that we're doing it. And so I continued and then there was the time I did this, and I came out of my meditation, and guess what? Somebody was telling me about phones calling them today. What happened for me was I had called this individual. I hadn't called them, my phone had called them.
Wow.
That was really interesting. But the most important part about that was it started to open the doors.
Hold on.
And when it opened the doors, wonderful things began to happen. Opportunities started to present themselves where we had to come together. We got to come together in the name of love.
That's right.
In the name of love. And because we began to come together in the name of love, we experienced a lot of great things.
Yes.
What I want to say about forgiveness is very powerful. And in my lifetime, I've seen a lot in terms of forgiveness.
Yeah.
I've seen how it's impacted the world. I think about the mothers in Ireland coming together all in the name of love, practicing forgiveness and unifying a country, creating a place of safety for everyone. I see how it has saved their children's lives because of that. I've seen seeing the practice of forgiveness in action with a loved one, pulling a family together and just saying, I forgive you. Do you forgive me? With their last breath. It's never too late.
That's right.
The biggest part is we get to learn how to live in that state of forgiveness, and it starts right here in the now. We cannot live in the past, and if we keep rehashing the past, what's going to happen is we're going to find that we're going to be stuck. You know, Ernest Holmes says, it has taken humanity thousands of years to learn that it has the power to control its own destiny.
Wow.
Dear ones, that power is alive within each and every one of you. It's alive within you. And that power can liberate you, and it can support you in a wonderful way. So it will give you those wings to fly, and I want to thank you. So now, we've had a wonderful time with this talk. But you know, the most important part is that we engage in spiritual practice. So I want to seal this talk right now with a prayer. So I'm going to invite you all to just join me and just to move into a very sacred space. I'm going to invite you to move into that place where you just breathe. We're breathing in God right now. We're breathing in love. We're breathing in spirit. And if you'll just imagine right now with your feet planted on the ground, if it's not planted on the ground, just imagine it planted on the ground. And what I want to do is just honor Mother Earth right now, the blessing of Mother Earth. Just imagine the ball of your feet growing roots all the way down to the center, the layers of the earth, to the center and the core of the earth. And imagine those roots wrapped around the core. Breathe in love, breathe out love. And as you're breathing in love and breathing out love right now, I'm inviting you to just shower each and every one of those roots with love, moving back up to your feet, blessing it and honoring it with love. How it carries you through this human realm and this human experience. I'm going to invite you to just bless and shower every part of your being with love. Anchoring it. The muscular skeletal system of your being, to shower it with love. Sometimes that's what life is all about. It's just showering everything with love, including ourselves. And I'm going to invite you to just move to that stomach region right now. We call it the gut. Sometimes our healers call it the second heart.